Hello, and welcome to today's episode of In the Moment. I'm your host, Michael Clark, certified life coach, former therapist, and owner of Clark Coaching Services. I was a therapist for 8 years of my career and have been a life coach for almost 2 years now. And I just want to give back and share my knowledge and experience with you to try to help navigate this thing we call life. Thank you in advance for listening, and I'm so glad you're here. Hey everyone, and welcome back to In the Moment. I'm Michael Clark, certified life coach, former therapist, and someone who, like many of you, has witnessed how addiction does not just affect one person. It affects everyone around them. I want to start today with a story that's still a little raw. A few months ago, I opened my home to someone who was unknowingly struggling with alcohol addiction. He admitted that he had a problem in the past, but was working through it and trying to get his life back on track. He had lost his wife, his home, and his kids, all slowly, then suddenly. He seemed like a kind-hearted man and just needed a lifeline as they moved forward in life. And I thought, I could be that. I'm a life coach and former therapist, for goodness sakes. So why not? But what I did not realize was how deep the denial was and how much damage can still happen, even when someone wants help, but is not ready to receive it. So today's episode is for two kinds of people. If you are someone who's struggling with alcohol, maybe quietly, maybe functionally, or if you are someone who loves that person, the spouse, the friend, the sibling, the coworker, we're going to talk about the ripple effect, about how addiction is never just about one person. And we're going to talk about how to move forward with empathy, with structure, with help, and with the hard-earned wisdom that comes from walking through it. Back to my story. When I took him in, I didn't think twice. He needed shelter, a second chance. When I was a therapist, I helped people out of some of life's darkest corners. So I believed I could hold the space for him too. But what started as a quiet struggle quickly turned into manipulation and denial. He'd disappear for hours, claiming that he was going to work. But slowly, I saw his mannerisms change, where he'd come home from work with the color of his eyes redder each day and slurring more words or staggering as he walked up the stairs. It came to a head when I got home one day to find him sitting in his car in the middle of a 90-degree afternoon. And as I approached him and opened the car door, found dozens of empty alcohol bottles covering almost every inch of the floor of his car. The hardest part, he didn't think he had a problem. Eventually, I had to ask him to leave. It wasn't anger. It was self-preservation. That moment broke me a little, because when you care about someone who is in active addiction, your heart is always in conflict. You're hopeful and exhausted, compassionate and resentful, and it messes with your sense of self-worth too. Let's pause and talk facts for a minute, because understanding helps remove shame. Alcohol use disorder, AUD, is a chronic brain disease. It's not a moral weakness. It affects how your brain handles reward, decision-making, and impulse control. That's why just stopping isn't simple. Let's ground this in a few real numbers, because I think sometimes we underestimate just how widespread this is. Right now, about 29 million people in the U.S., that's roughly 1 in 10, are living with alcohol use disorder. And that's not just people who drink every day. It includes folks who might seem completely functional on the outside. Every year, alcohol contributes to around 178,000 deaths, and most of those are preventable. In terms of patterns, about 61 million Americans binge drink, and over 16 million are considered heavy drinkers. So we're not talking about a few isolated cases here. And yet, society often treats alcohol as casual. It's in our social rituals, our holidays, our stress relief routines. But for someone with AUD, one drink is not just a drink. It's a trigger. It's a trapdoor. Don't get me wrong. I partake in those aforementioned social rituals and holiday celebrations myself. Let's be clear, though. Alcoholism is not necessarily about how often you drink, but how that drinking affects your life and how much control you have over it. A social drinker might have a glass of wine at dinner or enjoy a few beers at a barbecue, but they know their limit, can take it or leave it, don't need alcohol to relax, connect, or cope, don't experience withdrawal or cravings, and can stop when they want to without a mental battle. Someone struggling with alcohol addiction, on the other hand, may plan their day around when they can drink, use alcohol to numb pain, escape, or function, say they'll cut back, but struggle to follow through, lie or hide their drinking, and keep drinking even when it's hurting their relationships, work, or health, or even after they've promised not to. And the big one, they've often tried to stop, but can't stay stopped on their own. Social drinking is a choice. Alcoholism slowly becomes a prison disguised as a coping tool. One of the most destructive parts of addiction is denial, not just to others, but to ourselves. Denial sounds like this: I only drink at night. I'm fine. I still have a job. How bad could it be? I just need to get through this rough patch. I've had clients tell me, I didn't realize how bad it was until I looked in the mirror and did not recognize myself. And unfortunately, some never have that moment. Denial protects the ego, but it also prolongs the pain. And if you're the friend or loved one, you're often the mirror, and that is a heavy role to play. If you are someone who's not the addict, but the one who's been affected, I want to speak to you for a minute. You may be feeling exhausted, angry, maybe even numb. That's normal. Addiction creates a gravitational pull. You may find yourself canceling your plans, covering for them, checking their breath, hiding the keys, walking on eggshells. Your own nervous system is always on alert. It's called codependency for a reason. It feels like your wellness depends on theirs, but you are allowed to set boundaries. You are allowed to say, I love you, but I can't lose myself trying to save you. And that's not cruelty, that's courage. Helping someone does not mean hurting yourself in the process. Codependency can feel like compassion, but it's actually control dressed up as care. It's trying to manage their outcome so you can feel okay. And real love, healthy love, does not require that kind of sacrifice. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is let go. Not of the person, but of the responsibility to fix them. There's a question you may have that I want to address. Why don't they just get help? Duh. Well, there are a few reasons for that. Number one, fear of losing identity. If someone sees themselves as strong, successful, or independent, admitting they need help feels like failure. Number two, shame. Society still judges addiction more harshly than other illnesses. Number three, access to help. Not everyone knows where to go or can afford it, or they think they can't. And number four, control. Many believe, I'll stop on my own, or it's not that bad. I want to say this clearly. Asking for help is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's strength. It's hope in motion. A few months ago, I did an entire podcast on asking for help. And the bottom line from that is this. Asking for help is raising the bar in your life and not settling for what is, but seeing what could be. It means you've decided to stop carrying that heavy, invisible baggage alone. It means you're done pretending it's not a struggle. And it means you're ready to stop surviving and actually start healing. It's the moment you say, I'm not going to spin my wheels anymore. I'm going to truly find a way forward. Whether it's asking your friend, a coach, a therapist, or picking up the phone and calling a support group or treatment center, that one small act could open the door to everything you thought was out of reach. Clarity, relief, peace, and support that actually sticks. Back when I was a therapist, I worked at Aunt Martha's Youth Service Center. They're a nonprofit offering comprehensive community-based care, especially to underserved populations. I saw teens, young adults, and families dealing with everything from housing instability to trauma to addiction. And what stood out to me most was this. Healing does not happen in isolation. It happens in systems of care, therapy, case management, peer support, family involvement. Aunt Martha's offered that web. They integrated medical, behavior, and substance use services, and it worked. What I learned there is still part of how I coach now. 1, meet people where they are. 2, support their autonomy. And 3, keep hope alive, even when they can't hold on to it for themselves. Now, I know many of you have heard this following line, but there's no better way to say it. If you or someone you love is ready, or even just thinking about getting help, here are some real starting points. Call the 1-800-662-HELP National Helpline. Visit a local behavioral health site. Search local resources on findhelp.org or call your county mental health office. Attend an open AA meeting, even if just to listen. Now, if you are supporting someone, consider Al-Anon meetings. They're like AA, but for loved ones. They're free, anonymous, and incredibly grounding. I want to leave you with this. Whether you're struggling with addiction or supporting someone who is, your life is worth healing. If you're the one struggling, I see your pain and your potential. You're not broken beyond repair. If you're the one supporting, I honor your heart and remind you, compassion without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. Healing is possible, even after broken trust, broken promises, broken bottles. There can be repair. Thanks for being here with me today. This conversation matters, and I hope it reminded you that you are not alone on either side of this journey. If you need support, you know how to find me, clarkcoachingservices.com. Thanks for listening.